So when Donald Trump today turns and says that, look, we're going to escalate this war, you've not seen it we're in an unprecedented manner, it may take weeks. He's also warned of casualties. We've already got confirmed reports of 4 American soldiers. Are you saying it could get worse? Because one red line we are told is that there will be no use of U.S. ground troops come what may.
Well, there can't be any use of ground troops simply because we don't have the ground troops to send. Our army is a fraction of what it was in the past. We simply can't project power into the region. If we try to project power into the region, ballistic missiles will destroy us. Cruise missiles will destroy us. This is a new world we're in. We're seeing the end of an old era and the beginning of a new one. You know, if you just look at the UAE, for instance, it is being effectively taken out of the world economy by a few cheap drones. And our missile defenses have turned out to be completely inadequate to the task of protecting the Gulf states, where we've invested time and money to effectively protect them. Well, we can't do it, and that's being demonstrated. I think the world is changing dramatically right now.
So, Colonel Macgregor, do you believe, therefore, regime change is possible, or will that be off the table? Will this now be the US and Israel claiming, look, we got Ali Khamenei out, now we'll press the pause button, perhaps, and go back to the negotiating table? Does the US have the appetite, I come back to it, for a prolonged confrontation, as you're saying, is more likely?
No, there's no appetite in the United States for any sort of major war, let alone a long war. That's something that most Americans are unalterably opposed to. The Israelis have purchased the Congress and the White House. That's why we're doing what we are doing. There is no pressure or interest in the United States in any of this. You know, what we want in the United States has nothing to do with what President Trump and Congress are doing right now. Mm-hmm. This really needs to be understood. In the meantime, supply chains, you know, the global hub in the UAE with aviation, these things are being destroyed. You know, you've got 4.6 million of your citizens stranded in the Gulf. India faces a domestic humanitarian crisis that no evacuation can easily handle. This is a disaster. That's why I said I hope that the Indian government, which is probably the only adult in the room left right now, can bridge this gap. We're entering a sovereign shift. The future of the world is not being written in Washington anymore. By the time this is over, the Sykes-Picot Treaty, which created all of these tiny Arab states after the First World War, will be irrelevant. You know, the future is being written now in the Persian Gulf and in Asia. It's time, really, for everybody to understand the world has changed. America doesn't want it to change. That is the American government. We're really fighting against the future right now, not just Iran, because Iran is not our enemy. It's Israel's enemy.
But in conclusion, you've got the might of the American forces, you've got and technology, you've got Israel with perhaps the sharpest intelligence that you can get, and also a very strong force with technology. And you've got other nations slowly grouping, rallying around the US and Israel. Are you telling me that Iran can resist this, you believe, for an extended period?
Yes, I think Iran is resisting. And that's really all Iran has to do. Iran is the one that has to endure. It has to survive. And I think that it will. The United States is in a very difficult position now because of all the bombastic rhetoric from President Trump. We keep advertising ourselves as the most powerful nation in the world. That means that Iran has to submit unconditionally to whatever we demand based on what the Israelis demand. That's not going to happen. In the meantime, I think we figured out that a few $1,000s worth of drones can take down a $500 billion economy in the Gulf, the UAE, a great example. This thing is going to drag on for months. The Chinese and the Russians are watching. Iranian air defenses are beginning to be effective. The missiles that Iran has are almost inexhaustible, whereas the missiles on our side are very limited, and we can't produce them quickly. We can't surge power. Right. We can't surge missiles.
Okay. I'm going to leave this, Colonel Macgregor, there. You've, in a way, spoken out your mind and given us a very different perspective, in a way, there from the United States. I appreciate you joining me here on the show tonight.